you're on this side, maybe we'll turn our seats around so we can see him.
Alright guys, so the main message I want to get out of that for you guys is actually asking the favour of Jesus when they say they want to sit next to him, and him saying that the greatest will be a servant. So I just want to I'll change it up a bit. What do you guys think a servant would be? What would they do?
Follow their commands. Their master's commands.
Would they get paid for it?
Yeah.
Yes.
They
They must
do,
say.
they don't say that. Yeah. I don't know Jewish culture. Probably not a
So
whole.
it's good.
Get, well, not really. They didn't really. They kind of just get fed. They didn't really get paid. They just got fed. So they didn't have really any blessings from what they were. There's no benefits of work. What else? Anything else?
I reckon they do the dirty jobs.
Washing your feet. You know that from another part in the Bible.
I'm glad that at the end they had to do whatever the master said. They had to obey. Now for us as Christians, to be a servant, that's a servant heart. How could we put those into Christianity? Because that's what Jesus in the end game says. That's what we should do. We should be the servant. If we want to be great in heaven and great in His kingdom, we should serve when we're here. So, what as a Christian, how can we apply these to everyday life?
Not doing like good things to receive what you might be expecting to receive.
Exactly. No expectations. So when, say your parents ask you to do a chore, do you guys get paid for your chores? I know I used to. You don't get paid for your chores? No. I was lucky then. But just, I know coming from where I've been at, the greatest joy that I ever did was doing things for people without expecting a return. You don't do something for someone else expecting them to give you just words of affirmation. You don't do it so that they might pay you. You don't have anything in the back of your head thinking that I'm going to get something good from doing a good deed. That's not a servant heart. So it also says in the Bible, another verse here, in Acts. Acts 20 verse 33. I haven't been after your money or any possessions. You all know that I've worked with my hands to meet my own needs and the needs of those who have served with me. I left you an example of how you should serve and take care of those who are weak. For we must always cherish the words of our Lord Jesus, who taught, giving brings a far greater blessing than receiving. So we're not, as Christians, we're not brought on this earth to receive from other people. We're actually brought to give, because that's where the real joy lies. We didn't come to be kings, or like Jesus had all the authority in the world, and he didn't come to become a king. He didn't come to rule over everyone. He came to serve and love. So I think we should really take that out of the message. So like I remember when I started working, no matter how hard I worked, my boss would never give me affirmation. I think that kind of brought me into the realization that I should work so that I'm proud of myself and so that God's proud of me. It doesn't matter what anyone else says, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You should always just strive, because if you pray to God and you talk to God, He's always going to give you the affirmation when you do something good. He's not gonna put you down. He's not gonna not give you any grace for the things that you do. So you should always always work for the glory of God. So, what everyday situations could you guys put that into? At school, say. Someone drops their book, someone does something that hurts themselves, you can serve them and you can help them without expecting praise. You can help them, you can pick up their books, you can take them to their classroom and not expect anything from it, but just get the joy that God gives you for doing the right thing. You can do the dishes for your parents without them asking and not expect anything from it. Some of you are probably starting to work now. You can always do something more at work. And you should always strive to do that more without doing it in front of your boss. You don't have to do it in front of eyes to know that you're getting the grace from God. So I'll take it to Galatians. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge your flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. So if we take it from that, Jesus says if you take one thing from him, it's just the love. If you loved your neighbour like you love yourself, all other commandments will be received, because if you love them, you're not going to hurt them. You're not going to lie. You're not going to do anything else bad because you love them. So, say down, your mum, yeah, would you do anything for her? Yeah? Without recognition? Yeah. Why don't we do the same for Jesus? He gave his life just for us. So Jesus is the end game. Jesus says, anything you do for the lowest, you do to me. So next time you see someone in trouble, in hardship, you should look at it as though that's Jesus you could be helping. You don't look at the person, you look at the situation of where you can bring joy and love and peace into someone's life. So like they said in church, me and John went out on the trains and tried to spread some good news. But we had an expectation that we were actually going to get abused and get a bit of flack. But by the time we got into it, we realised those expectations were so wrong. If we had to come in with the right expectation of no expectation, you're just doing it because God wants you to do it, we wouldn't have sat in the car for 20 minutes going, what are we doing? Like, a lot of the times we psych ourselves out rather than doing what's right. We let the devil into our heads and be like, oh, that's wrong, we're going to look stupid, we're going to look dumb, someone's going to call us names. Even if they do, it doesn't matter. People's opinions don't matter, because when you get to the end and you sit in front of Jesus, his opinion's the only one that matters. Alright, I actually want to tie this in to the wise men too, because it's coming up to Christmas. Alright, so what do we know about the wise men? The wise men came for Christmas, yeah. He came at Jesus' birth. So a cool thing about that is they were actually not Jewish. They didn't even recognize the Jewish law or the Jewish prophecies, but they knew that one prophecy that the king was going to be born under that star. And they followed that. And when they actually got there, instead of just giving gifts, they actually fell to their knees and they started worshipping Jesus as a baby. And I think that...
That's a question. Like, did the wise men, like, didn't they come, like, way down?
Yes,
Years
they
to,
did.
like,
Yeah, they reckon Jesus was 1 to 2 years old.
that's like what's the commitment?
There's a lot of commitment, because they would have seen it when he was getting born. They followed it for that long, so that's another point. Even though that Jesus might have put something in front of you, it will take time. You can't expect things to happen all the time. Especially in this generation, we all expect things to happen straight away with the internet and everything. I remember back in the day, internet wasn't like this. So it's just expectations of everything. If we wiped expectation, I think we'd all realise that the only thing that we should really worry about is what God thinks. If we wipe out the expectation that, you know, someone, if you're nice to someone, they'll be nice back. If we wipe that expectation out and we just be nice for the sake of it, we'll get a lot more joy than if they actually are nice back. I'm not saying that we shouldn't bless others when they help us, because it does give us a lot of affirmation, but do not expect anything from anyone else, because people are going to let you down. It's the brutal truth, is that humans let each other down. Doesn't matter how good of a person it is, they can let you down. The only person that won't let you down is God. We can talk about even the apostles. Stephen was martyred for what he believed and what he chose, and he still found joy when he was getting stoned to death. So if we can just keep in our back of our heads that it doesn't matter what we're doing for God, if we keep this servant heart with no expectation, but to find joy in it through God, life will be so much easier, and we'll be able to affect so many more people's lives. So I don't know if we can do it now. If we could all take communion, and then we can all bow our heads and we can all think of something that, I know I expected this week a lot from people and they let me down, so this is pretty close to heart for me. Just sit down at the table and we can just all think about just letting expectations go, thinking about all the people that might have hurt us back in the day, people that will hurt us in the future, because it will happen. Life's hard. I'm not saying that life's going to be easy doing this, but it will be a lot easier than if you take people's input into your life, because humans don't know the best. We don't know the best for each other. God only knows the best for us. If you want to turn around, I'm going to get communion. I don't know if I've got enough.